Moreau. Imagine having your first menses and it turns out to be your superpower, except this time it leads to the deaths of your parents. That's what happened to poor Moreau. From the beginning, Marie was a happy child who would later get broken by her experience as a teenager. After discovering her powers, she was so scared that she ended her parents' lives by expressing that fear, and it didn't get any better. Marie had to be taken to a special home for kids with superpowers, which caused a huge problem as she grew up. Mind you, Marie can manipulate blood, and that makes her super dangerous, especially when she gets emotional. Of course, she'd later become accustomed to it and learn how to properly wield her power, but to access her power, she has to cut her palms, which is rather nasty. She can control blood in other people, grab things with it, and even explode a guy's manhood. Crazy, right? That's a magnificent use of bloodbending. Katara from Avatar, The Last Airbender, would have been proud of Marie. Ultimately, Marie is the lead character in the Gen V series. In the last episode of the season, Marie and her 3 friends were captured and placed in some sort of isolation room after the massacre that happened at the Godolkin University. Golden Boy, just like the boys, Gen V is a series that could unalive any Supe, no matter how powerful they are. That's what happened to Luke Reardon. He was Sam's brother. Luke had the ability to flame up whenever he wanted to, just like Johnny from the Fantastic Four. And of course, he was super strong. Potentially, Luke was touted as the next Homelander and could have been the best graduating student of the God U. He was literally called Golden Boy for a reason. Well, 2 if you add the fact that he could burst into flames. And the ladies loved him too, especially after his clothes burned off when using his powers. His girlfriend Kate was responsible for him, and although he didn't realize it, he was always indirectly under her influence and control. Golden Boy's death was something out of the blues. He committed suicide by flying too close to the sun and evaporating into a bloodied mass of falling body parts. This occurred after he had burned Professor Brink to a crisp and was the major cause of the twists and turns in the following episodes of Gen V. Sam Reardon. Even as a Supe, Sam's way stronger than the others. His abilities could be likened to that of the Hulk minus the green color, but with a little bit more anger issues. Sam also seems to be a little bit crazy since he imagines puppets talking to him instead of human beings. Sam can rip humans and even Supes apart with his bare hands, and his punches break through walls instantly. There's a side of him that's difficult to relate to, as he's unstable. Maybe that's why he is always kept sedated and locked away in the underground labor of the God U called the Woods. Each time Sam tries to escape, he encounters security measures and other Supes specially designed to subdue him, such as Kate, who always made him forget and chill when he started to go crazy. In a way, Sam is more dangerous than the other students at God U, and his precious blood was the key to developing a deadly virus that would kill every single Supe that would be infected. He might be the ultimate replacement for his dead brother as the show progresses. In the course of the first season, Sam finally escapes the woods with the aid of Emma. After meeting again with Kate, he turned into an unstoppable Supe-killing machine that wanted to take revenge on every single human being at the God U. Kate Dunlap. Kate's touch can be devastating or exciting, depending on what she tells you afterwards. She has a power that allows her to gain control of anyone's mind just by touching them. And of course, she's the alpha female of the college, and she's also dating the star of the school, Golden Boy. In an episode, we saw how she could use this power for exploits when she was explaining how things went with Golden Boy the previous night. However, there's a downside to this. Using her powers too much can cause bleeding in her eyes, and some even argue that it might cause bleeding in her brain too. And since you can't go a day without touching people, Kate is forced to wear gloves all the time. Kate would later betray her boyfriend by sleeping with his best friend, and then cause her friends more pain. Of course, she was also responsible for the Odd massacre, and despite all this, Vought and especially Homelander protected her in the end. Andre Anderson. Andre's powers were, in a way, passed down from his father. What can he do? Magnetism. Imagine Magneto from X-Men, but as a black guy in a special kind of college. Now, Andre isn't a bad guy. He only uses his powers when necessary and doesn't look like he can hurt a fly. That's if you assume he was only defending himself when he tried to unalive Rufus with garden tools. Oh, and one time he actually unalived a woman on a party temporarily while he wanted to impress another girl with his power. Andre has a problem though. He has to contend Polarity's, his father's legacy at the school, and the old man's desire to push Andre to heights that even he couldn't reach. In the series, we see see Andre play second fiddle to Golden Boy, but also act as his best friend. Eventually, he had to stop using his powers because of the effects they had on his health, just like his father. And just like Marie and the rest of the gang, Andre was also blamed for the massacre at God U, and was also put into the isolation room with Marie, Jordan, and Emma. Jordan Lee. This character is the literal definition of non-binary. Jordan Lee is blessed with a plethora of powers, which includes gender shifting. Yes, they can change into a man or woman, invulnerability, and energy blasts. These powers are activated by default depending on the gender Jordan shifts into. When they shift into a man, they are indestructible. As a woman, they can shoot energy blasts. That sounds fun, right? Assigning powers to genders. Jordan have another superpower. They're the favorite student and TA of the university professor, Richard Brinkerhoff, who headed the College of Crime Fighting. Jordan would ultimately realize they have been misled by the professor despite having been tutored by Brink to gain excellent control of their powers. He also helped Marie fighting the Supes that started the massacre at the end of the season. However, he was also put into isolation. Emma Meyer. Emma Meyer seems like an ordinary girl just trying to get along with others at school, but what they don't know is that she has the power to become smaller in size. That is after throwing up a lot, and then revert to her normal state by eating lots of food. But there's a twist to her powers. Emma can also grow to a large size by eating more food. Now, who said gluttony was a bad thing? Emma is a roommate and friend to Marie and Sam's supposed girlfriend after she helped him escape from the woods. It's unnatural though. Imagine having to puke just to be able to use your powers. Sounds good to me. Emma broke the limits of her powers after shrinking to an incredibly small size following her confrontation with Sam at the end of the season. After this, she was eventually put in the same room with the others for their involvement in the massacre at God U. Polarity, Andre's father, Polarity, is a master of magnetism. He hasn't really shown his powers and isn't listed as an A-Supa, which is why he's always pushing his son to the limits. However, he has the potential to be a very important figure in Gen V because he's always in everyone's business. While we aren't sure of his role yet, Polarity is a trustee of God U, and he's a problem Andre has to constantly deal with. Rufus a sick weirdo. Rufus is a Supa who could use his powers anyhow he wanted. Of course, he took advantage of that. As a psychic, Rufus could also use mind manipulation, telepathy, astral protection, and clairvoyance to sexually assault some of the other students. Someone put this dude in jail already. Unfortunately for his wainer, Rufus tried too hard and got what he deserved when he tried using his powers on Marie. Let's just say he won't be using his tool anymore. These were the major characters of Gen V and their interesting powers. Subscribe for more Supe explanations. Also, if you like this video, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Until next time.